Good evening, Broncos country. We are live. But before we get started with tonight's discussion, we always want to make sure we have all of our platforms included. So let's just hang tight, make sure everyone is joining us. All right, and looks like we are good. Welcome in, everyone, to another installment of the Orange and Blue View. I am your co host, Ron White. On that side of me, you know him, you love him as Dylan Von Arks. Dylan, it's been what 2 or 3 weeks since we've since we've pod, so it's good to kind of have you back in the saddle, man. How are you doing, man? Good to see
Doing
you.
fantastic. Got to see you face to face at the game. We talk here most Saturdays, and it's different when we're in person. And we're laid back here and whatnot, but it's a different vibe in person. You love to see it with not just us, but the rest of the host and some of you, of course.
Yes, it was good to see you and everyone this past weekend in the Mile High City, although it didn't come out in a win, unfortunately, for your Denver Broncos. It was still nonetheless good to see, the whole gang, Nick, Eric, yourself, Mike, KB as well, Scott. So it was good to, and of course, Zach and Chad. It was good to see everyone. Um, but so, yeah, we have a game coming up. So again, we are in season form here, guys. And, since last time we spoke, the Broncos have dropped 2 games, as we all know. So, Dylan, before we kind of get into the meat and potatoes of tonight's discussion, let's say hi to a few folks. Let's see who all is joining us here in the chat. Let's see. We got Mike coming in. Thank you, Mike. Says, hope we get the win tomorrow. Yeah, Mike. I hope so too. I'm not too optimistic. Consider what I've seen over the past few weeks. Um, this Tampa Bay team is they're loaded. They're good. They're cooking on all cylinders right now. Now I know we'll get into some injuries here shortly, Dylan, as far as both teams, but I think if this were the game to get right, how important is winning this week? I would say this is the game that could get the Broncos somewhat in a positive direction. Now, if they're trying to keep their somewhat slim playoff hopes, again, I know it's still early, but usually teams that start off 0-2, they don't really have the best chances on making the playoffs. But if the Broncos want to even sniff the playoffs, be in that conversation, I think this week is very important to have their first win in that win column. But thank you, Mike, for coming in.
Yeah, thank you, Mike, as always. And yeah, we're hoping for a win, right? And maybe I'm being a little pessimistic, but honestly, I'm just hoping we can put up some points, whether win, lose, or tie. Let's put some points up on the board. This offense has been pretty dreadful, whether you think it's play calling, quarterback, personnel, combination of the three. A win could do a lot for this team, and we need that confidence boost. It's a young team, we got a rookie quarterback, we got a lot of skill position players who maybe need to step up and whatnot, and just anything on offense would be great because obviously we've seen and tell me if you've heard this script before that the defense holds the opponent to 10 to 13 points and we still can't squeak out a win. So it's mostly the offense I'm concerned about. I'm sure many of you are. Yeah, we just need the biggest confidence boost possible, and beating a red hot team in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers with Baker Mayfield playing out of his mind, those 2 Pro Bowl receivers he's got there, Mike Williams and Chris Godwin. It's going to be a tough battle, and winning this one would just leaps and bounds for this team's confidence and moving forward.
Yeah, for sure, Dylan. I'm gonna get back to what you're saying as far as the office is concerned. But before I do that, I want to give a shout out to a few more folks. Got David Youngkin coming in. Thank you, David. Says hope no one is betting on the Broncos tomorrow. Yeah, David. based on what's transpired over the past 2 weeks, that I would say that that's a fair statement. But we all are wanting the Broncos to get a win. And then William Catalano, thank you, William, for coming in. He says, "I just have a bad feeling about tomorrow." Laugh out loud. Yeah, well, I mean, I think we all, kind of in the back of my minds, based on what has happened over the past 2 weeks, feel a little uneasy. But Dylan, in order to get a win tomorrow, the Broncos, this running game it has to get solved. It has to get addressed. That is the most crucial part to helping out a rookie quarterback. And as we've seen over the past few weeks, they just struggle to get anything going on the ground. I mean, you can we can blame can go around, right? We can have Sean Payton, we can have the offensive line, we can have Javante, and all that's true. But I think that this running game has to get going at some point. Now, whether it be kind of mixing things up at the line of scrimmage, having some misdirection, some pre-snap motion, kind of employing that a little to keep the defense on its heels. I've seen also with Javante that he's just, I don't know, his vision is off to me, Dylan. Like I saw that in the Seattle game, and I definitely saw that last week. Like there'll be times when that second lane, that cut is open, and he just misses it. He just misses it, and I'm just like, I'm not sure what's going on with the vision. Um, maybe again, we just have to see how that folds. But I think in order to really help Bo Nix, the running game has to turn. And you're right with the defense. The defense is holding teams. Well, the Pittsburgh Steelers last week held them to 13 points. So the defense is doing this job. Now, I've been not the biggest fan of Vance Joseph, but he's not to blame for these two games at all. The offense has to get something going, and it starts with that running game.
Yeah, it's absolutely dreadful. And like you mentioned, Javante's vision, that's been a problem the past couple of years. And obviously, we downplayed a lot last year coming off that 3 ligament tear in his knee. He's going to be slow, brought along. And we were like, oh, maybe that's why he's not hitting the holes right. Or maybe that's why he doesn't have as much burst. But he's simply running into the back of his own offensive line most of the time. And it's a shame, especially like you mentioned, we have a rookie quarterback. Establishing the ground game is huge for success in this league, especially with all the too high safety looks you're getting on defense. You need to be able to run the ball. And that's what Pittsburgh did. And that's what Seattle did. They said, hey, we're just going to key in on the run and we're going to make Bo Nix win this game. And you're not going to do that throwing screen and swing passes 80% of the time. You got to take some shots. But at the same time, you need to get the run game going so you can get those play action plays in and get some movement from under center, because every time they're under center, I believe it was like around a 90% chance that they're going to run the ball when they're under center. It's like you can't have that. You can't be that predictable. So getting this run game going, taking pressure off of Bo Nix, he just absolutely can't be your leading rusher for the third game in a row.
Yes, for sure, for sure. Now it's time to present one of our sponsors for tonight, which is Mint Mobile. So with big wireless providers, what you see is never what you actually get. Somewhere between the store and your first month's bill, the price you thought you were paying magically increases. With Mint Mobile, you'll never have to worry about those gotchas on your bill ever again. When Mint Mobile says $15 a month when you purchase a 3-month plan, they actually mean that. So say bye-bye to your overpriced wireless plans, monthly bills, and unexpected overages.
To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/huddle. That's mintmobile.com/huddle. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/huddle. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 per month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigs on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
All right, thank you. And we got KB coming in. Thank you, Ken. We appreciate you coming in, man. 82. He says, has anyone been watching all the stuff coming out about the Mike Shanahan coaching tree? It's the most impressive coaching tree by a mile. So yeah, KB, I'm not sure if, and Dylan, keep me honest here, I haven't really seen anything specific um, about the Shanahan coaching tree things coming out, but I know we're all familiar with kind of West Coast offense, the zone blocking scheme, things like that, and obviously under that tree comes a lot of upward shout. Kyle Shanahan, there's Sean McVay coming off that tree as well. But yeah, I haven't seen anything specific, KB82.
I think I saw a few clips, and I believe it was Chad Ochocinco was in one of them. It's like a panel of a couple guys, and they're talking about the Shanahan tree, and they're showing Mike Shanahan, obviously. Oh, by the way, put that man in the Hall of Fame already.
Yes.
Let's get that done. But you talk about, like you mentioned, his son Kyle Shanahan with 49ers, Sean McVay, Matt LaFleur in Green Bay. Was I believe Ben Slowick for the Texans, their OC. He was also with him in Washington at some point. And the other one that was in the shot in a clip that I saw was Gary Kubiak.
Gary Kubiak, yeah.
So yeah, great coaching tree there. And unfortunately, we haven't had many. The coaching tree from Shanahan has branched out, but it hasn't really stayed home as of late, which is unfortunate. But hopefully, Sean Payton can get things turned around with just a little more time.
Yes. So yeah, I missed that from Ochocinco, but yeah, I think that's good stuff to kind of get that history of the coaching tree, see who is a branch from that tree. And there are many people there in the league, as you alluded to, Dylan. And you see how that offense is still good and that solid to this day. So it's good to see. Thank you, KB, for coming in. We appreciate it. All right, let's see who else we have coming in. Chat here. You got the boss man himself with a super chat. Thank you, Chad. Says, I know Broncos country is leaning ever closer to full-blown apathy and disengagement, but you two are the hardest of the hardcore. Thanks for keeping the combo going who'll never turn it off. Turn down for what? Yes. Thank you, Chad, once again. We have to keep, the content moving, going. Keep you guys engaged, keep you guys optimistic. I know, the past few weeks it hasn't been great. And Dylan, speaking of that, it's to what we were just talking about earlier with the running game. You expected Bo Nix to have his struggles. What we didn't expect is, again, this running game to not be effective. Receivers dropping passes. I would say the only receiver out there that's looked somewhat competent has been a Josh Reynolds these past two games. Sutton's been hit or miss in my opinion, and then you had Mims out there, especially last week, dropped the pass, although, Bo kind of overthrew it a bit, but so, you which isn't a bad thing, I guess, but you want, your number one to step up. And then, you also want to see Courtland Sutton be that number one and have Mims and Troy Franklin be out in the field. So, again, I just hope that they can get this offense together. I mean, again, the schedule coming up, these were a few games that they really could have won, quite honestly. I think if the offense makes a few more plays here or there, they probably could have been 2-0. I was actually even begging for 1-1 because I know with the first matchup against the Seahawks, that was tough.
Mm-hmm.
I know McDonald's defense it's close to perfect. It's a solid defense. So I know that was a tough outing for Nick, especially with the rookie quarterback. But last week, the Broncos really could have won this game if they had something on offense. But again, guys, we are here to keep you motivated and uplifted when it comes to your Denver Broncos.
Yeah, thanks for coming in, boss man. We really appreciate that. And yeah, we have to be the glue that holds Broncos country together, that holds MHH together in this community, because it does get kind of depressing here at times, especially when you're seeing the same things. The defense playing its butt off, getting stops, getting turnovers even, and then the offense can't capitalize. And I mentioned that before. It's been the same script seemingly for 8 years. It's the same thing, but same defensive success, and then you have different quarterbacks, different head coaches, different OCs, same results on offense, which is just super frustrating. But we're still going to be here. We're going to get you guys your content, and we're going to try and look on the bright side of things, as bleak as they make it.
Yes, for sure. And I see several comments in here in regards to Sean Payton. And how he is as a head coach right now. He's overrated. I see something inconceivable. Yeah. So again, given I still do trust in Sean Payton, Dylan. As a head coach. Now, as a play caller, that's where I'm a little bit concerned. And getting into that, I want to bring up Monica here. So thank you, Monica, for coming in with this comment. This is a great comment here. He says, "Hey guys, I'm curious to see the play calling in week 3. Rebuilding sucks right now. I hope Sean Payton isn't overrated. Denver Broncos for life." Again, thank you, Monica, for coming in. And yeah, Monica, that play calling is what I'm interested in seeing as well, because you have Sean Payton has to simplify things for Bo. You've seen a lot of there's that one clip out there, right, Dylan, where they're not getting to the huddle quick enough, and Bo's trying to really kind of understand all of the complexities of that call.
Yeah.
So it's things like that, Monaco, where Sean Payton and Bo have to get on the same page with Sean Payton. How do I help my quarterback out? How do I simplify things on offense? So he can manage it and run it a little bit better. Also, I want to see to what I just called out, Monica, of how does his running game look? What run plays are in his play sheet as well, and personnel groupings is another thing. And I know he alluded to that this week because there were so many different personnel changes and groupings out there, Dylan. I think that also adds a layer of complexity to this offense. So again, if you can kind of simplify things across the board on offense from a play calling perspective, from a run game perspective, and from a personnel perspective, I think that can help set up Bo Nix for success moving forward into the season.
Yeah, and Monica, thank you again for coming in. Like you mentioned, rebuilding sucks right now, and
yes,
we'd be out of this pit possibly. I'm no fortune teller or anything, but if we committed to an actual rebuild much sooner, I mean, it's been rough. We've been trying to win with these stopgap quarterbacks, whether it's Russell Wilson, you have Trevor Siemian starting a couple seasons, draft Paxton Lynch, and you never committed to actually rebuilding this team. It was always retooling or whatever John Elway wanted to call it. And I'm not ready to say Sean Payton's overrated yet. There's not a lot of talent to work with on this team. And on the flip side of that, though, like you mentioned, there's a lot of different personnel on the field, and there's a lot of different people he's putting out on the field there. And it's hard for a rookie quarterback to get in. I know we talk about Nick's having 61 starts, a record for college football, right? But the NFL is a different beast. This is completely new to him. He's still a rookie, and Sean might be putting too much on his plate, and that's not something you want to do. I don't care if that's your guy and you want to prove everyone wrong. That no, this is this is the best quarterback in the first round here, and I know what I'm doing. I get it, Sean, but maybe just take a step back. This is a rebuild, right? Let's simplify things. Let's uh, shorten the play calls. Like you mentioned, you have Nick's like putting his hands up and stuff, looking back at the sideline at Sean, like, dude, what are we calling here? And you just can't break the huddle with 10 to 12 seconds on the play clock, because that's not enough time to make your checks, make adjustments. If you're in the wrong look, okay, well, we're either going to take a false start or we're going to take a timeout, and that's just wasted resources and wasted field position.
Yes, for sure. But you guys know what's not a waste? Manscaped. So it's the best time of year. As we all know, football is back. We're talking NFL Sundays, college football Saturdays, and that glorious grind of fantasy football lineups. This is where your inner GM comes alive, setting that perfect fantasy roster, screaming at the TV, and making last minute waiver moves that either make you a hero or the guy everyone ridicules in the group chat.
But listen, while you're with us getting the lowdown on the Denver Broncos and perfecting your fantasy lineups, don't forget your personal grooming and become the guy who gets left on the bench. Let's be honest, nobody wants to fumble their grooming routine. That's where Manscaped Performance Package 5.0 Ultra comes in, acting as your all-in-one grooming playbook. From keeping things sharp down below with the Lawnmower 5.0 Ultra to taking care of those rogue nose and ear hairs with the Weed Whacker 2.0. This is the lineup that'll keep you feeling like a champ on and off the field.
So join the over 10 million men worldwide who trust Manscaped and get ready for kickoff by heading over to manscaped.com. Use the code HUDDLE for 20% off plus free shipping. Trust me, you'll be drafting the real MVP of grooming this season.
That's right. Get 20% off plus free shipping with the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. That's 20% off plus free shipping with the code HUDDLE at manscaped.com. Stay on top of your grooming game and be ready for anything the season throws your way.
All righty. Let's see who else we have in the chat. KB, maybe Javante needs your glasses, Ron. Possibly, yeah, that again, that vision is very concerning. But thank you, KB, for coming in. Then we got the original Dizzy D coming in. Thank you. Says we get our first win tomorrow. Hashtag mile high soldier style. Okay, all right.
I like
We're
it.
predicting a Broncos victory tomorrow. I like it. The original Dizzy D. Again, there's going to be opportunity in this game tomorrow. The Bucs do have some key injuries. Well, I know some people are out, but some people are also doubtful. So the Broncos can definitely make some hay with given that. But yeah, I like the optimism, and hopefully the Broncos do get that dub tomorrow. We'll see what happens. And I'll be at the game, guys, so I will be there tomorrow to witness it live. And I'm hoping, Dylan, this is not like week 3 last year when I was in Florida again last year. When I was at that Miami game, I hope this is nothing similar to that. But it shall be a good time. But again, thank you, the original DVD, for coming in. And then we got Phil McLaughlin coming in. Thank you, Phil, from Facebook. It's always good to see you, my guy. Says, good evening, Ron and Dylan. Seems to me, unless we get some play calling that puts play action in there's never going to be a run game. Payton needs to find some plays to keep the defense off guard. Hashtag Buckham, hashtag MHH for life, hashtag Broncos for life. Dylan, what are your thoughts? I'll toss this one over to you first. What are your thoughts on getting some calls there for more play action and having the run game going?
Yeah, I don't think defenses thus far have respected what Bo Nix can do, especially throwing all these screen passes, all these swing passes, all these things that are horizontal, nothing vertical. Mm-hmm. So what's the point? Hey, let's take some deep shots. Let's not even deep shots. Let's get to the middle of the field. Let's get beyond 10 yards with some of these throws. You have to make a defense respect what you can do in terms of the passing game. And if they don't, they're just going to key in and play press coverage like they have been, because they know, hey, this guy might get 2 yards, but I'm going to tackle him just like that, and it's going to be over. And the run game absolutely needs to get going. I mentioned earlier, Bo Nix absolutely cannot be your leading rusher for a third week in a row. That's just dreadful. That's miserable. Obviously, I would like to see Bo more involved in the run game, maybe some designed runs and stuff, but I don't want him to be the guy in the running game. That's why you have Javonte. That's why you kept, what is it, 5 running backs between the main roster and the practice squad?
Mm-hmm. Well, 5.
Yeah, and
I think it's like 5 of the practice.
Okay, that's right. Yeah, and it's just disappointing to not see this run game materialize, or even Sean Payton just going away from it. Like, you could supplement some of these swing passes that behind the line of scrimmage. That's basically just a run play. Like, let's try and get those guys going. And what's most disappointing of all is how well paid this offensive line is. Every man on this line has been paid fat to do their job, and running the ball was supposed to be the strength of this offensive line, and we just haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, yeah, you bring up a good point. It's, to set up play action, I mean, the running game has to be going. That's kind of how it works. And if they can't run the ball, I mean, what use is really to play? What use is really to play action? Because the defenses already know that Bo Nix can't really challenge them, vertically like that. It's Sean Payton's doing these things close at the line of scrimmage, these short horizontal passes, these dink and dunks, so that they can try to move the ball and try to move the chains, but it's just not working. And again, that's where, if they can get this running game going, Dylan, it just opens up so much more. You could get the play action going. You could have those deep bombs whenever they're on the field to a Marvin Mims, to a Troy Franklin. But it really starts with the running game. But yet also, Phil, kind of getting into one of my keys, and we'll kind of talk briefly, Dylan, about some keys to victory here. I have one of my keys victory: establish the run early and often. And again, it's mostly deploying some of that stuff pre-snap so you can keep that defense guessing. I think that's where they can really benefit. You kind of have to have a little trickery, a little creativity within the run game. And I think that's what's missing in this offense. So I think with that, kind of employing some of that fill, it'll keep that defense off guard. As you watch a Kyle Shanahan offense, all that misdirection, all that motion, all that pre-snap stuff, they're going to run the ball. you just know it.
Mm-hmm.
But he always keeps you guessing with that's one staple of Shanahan's offense that I love. So if you can integrate some of that into this, Phil and Dylan, I think that can help set up, not only Bo Nix, but this team for success, to where as though they could open it up a little bit more.
Definitely.
Yeah. But again, thank you, Phil, for coming in. Great comment. Get us going here. All righty. Let's see who else we have in the chat. We got David Youngkin coming in. Again, thank you, David. It feels like Sean's play calling is for Breeze. Yes, David. That I think that's what we're alluding to. Of it's too complex right now. It's lengthy. It's a very lengthy play call. You have to be very experienced in the league to understand, kind of all the protections, all the personnel when it comes to Sean Payton's how he dives up a play. And again, we know Bo Nix has 61 starts, but this is the NFL and it's a different animal. So he has to get acclimated to kind of how these plays are designed. And that's what I'm saying. Maybe just keep stuff simple. Kind of having more of those design runs, as you mentioned, Dylan. I think adding more of that dimension to the offense can help him out. Um, I don't mind the short, quick throws every now and again, but don't make that the staple of the offense. We see that so much. Kind of have more things, toward the middle of the field, down the sideline. If you can kind of deploy some of those things again in tandem with the running game working, I think simplifying it maybe to that degree. I might be simplifying it too much, but simplifying it maybe to that degree, I think can kind of help Knicks out some.
And the hard part about this is maybe we're not getting a true evaluation of what this offense could be because we don't have the playmakers or we're not utilizing the ones we have. It's just hard when you have guys, and obviously Josh Reynolds has been probably your main receiver. Vele looked pretty good week 1, and then he got hurt. He'll be back this game, fortunately, but I just don't know if they have the dogs to go out and make plays, which is unfortunate. I think other teams understand that. You bring Sutton back. We have this somewhat holdout, not really, in the offseason with him. And okay, cool, he'll be your number one guy. And then the more you think about it, not Knicks's ideal quarterback. He needs some guys who can get more separation, and Sutton's more of that jump ball red zone guy. And when we get to the red zone, he's throwing it to the wrong team. He'll tell you that straight up. But yeah, the play calling, man, it's just it's hard to get. Like maybe I'm giving Sean too much of the benefit of the doubt here, but when you don't have those pieces, like he had a Michael Thomas, that's not Cortland Sutton. He's a different kind of receiver. You don't have an Alvin Kamara. Sorry, Jaleel McLaughlin is not Alvin Kamara. As much as he might want to try and make him be, you can't force guys to be who they're not, and you're not playing to the strengths, or not that there's too many from your skill position players, but you're not playing to the strengths of them. You're trying to fit a square peg into a round hole, in my opinion, with the personnel that you have.
Yeah, most definitely. Thank you, David, for coming in with that comment. Let's see who else we have. Got a Richie Rich coming in. To be clear, the play calling is not the issue. There are plenty of open players. He's simply not seeing the field. Now we need to adjust. I disagree with you here, Richie. I disagree with you here. I think play calling for sure is a big part of the issue. And when players are open, they're just not catching the darn ball. I mean, look at Dulcich look at Dulcich in that Steelers game.
Bricks, man. Bricks for hands.
Marvin Mims. Now I know it was a little overthrown for Marvin Mims, but I mean, so I disagree with you here, Richie, in the sense that I think play calling is a big part of the issue. Where you tell me this, Rich, you're looking at a game where sometimes a running play makes the most sense. They don't run the ball. You see a lot of things that are close to the line of scrimmage, a lot of those horizontal passes. And they just couldn't get anything moving. So again, not to say, and I thought there's another portion out here that says that offense is outdated. I don't think Sean Payton's offense is like outdated per se. I think it needs a little bit more creativity, a little bit more versatility. It needs to, again, have a lot of stuff prior to the snap. It needs to have the motion. Again, play action, someone alluded to a little bit more, using that more. And I think some of that, again, I don't know Sean Payton's play call sheet, but I want to say play action for sure is in some of that. But again, when you can't run the ball, when receivers are dropping passes, and then when things are short at the line of scrimmage, I want to say that's that's issue with the play calling. I mean, I do think sometimes, Dylan, and I think Luke and I talked about this when we were all sitting together, that Sean Payton likes to I think he outsmarts himself too much. Like he outthinks himself way too much. And that's showing now. Again, with the collective. Again, the personnel groupings, everything. I think the collective effort kind of signifies that, he's way up there as far as his knowledge, which is great, but he has a young team that's just not there yet. So how do they meet in the middle? And again, that's where the quarterback and the head coach and essentially the play caller, Sean Payton, they have to find a way to find a happy medium to have success. But yeah, Richie, I thank you for your comment, but I just disagree with the comment that's saying that play calling is not the issue.
Yeah, the thing is, it's for me in terms of the play calling. Obviously, there's certain spots where I'm like, yeah, what are we thinking? Why are we running here? Or why are we throwing this pass here? Or whatever. Like you're throwing on 2nd and 20, I believe it was. You're throwing a tight end screen with Greg Dulcich. Like, come on, let's be real about it. But it's more so for me the fact that, and this is known and anyone will tell you, Sean Payton has these long play calls, and for what, dude? You got a rookie quarterback. People calling it dumbing it down or whatever. I don't care what you call it. Just simplify it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like there's no need to have these long play calls and then you get in the huddle or you break the huddle. Sorry, with 10 seconds left, and now I can't make my checks. Now I can't switch out of the play. So here we go. Let's take a timeout. Let's waste a timeout. Let's take a false start because we're trying to do too much. You have a rookie quarterback. I don't care if he's 24. I don't care about his college starts. Let's slow it down a little, man.
Yep.
And I know you're trying to do what he was comfortable with in Oregon, and these quick passes and stuff. Yes, you need to have that. You need to have the sprinkle in. That is a big part of the Sean Payton offense. But it's just I think multiple things can be true. It's the play calling, it's the players, it's Bo. Multiple things can be true, and I do think play calling is an issue because if you're not tailoring it to your personnel, and I understand there are guys getting open and Bo's not seeing them. He's a rookie. That's going to happen. You also don't have the personnel. There's multiple factors. It's not one thing is right and everything else is wrong. There's multiple factors that go into not just the offense, but anything, special teams, defense, everything on the field. Multiple factors.
Yeah, and that's where you're not in agreement, Dylan. That's why I said the collective. Mm-hmm. And what I mean by that is everything. Again, the running game, the play calling, the receivers dropping passes, everything here. Everything needs improvement. But Richard, to say that play call is not factoring into this or is not an issue. Granted, it may not be the main issue, but it is an issue. And I think this is, and looks like Sean Payton's acknowledging that, and hopefully moving forward, that will be addressed. But again, thank you for coming in with your comment.
Did you the acronym KISS, keep it simple, stupid?
Yes.
I think we need to implement that. And the stupid part, maybe that's a little harsh or whatever, but you get the gist.
Yes, keep it simple. Simplify it as much as you can. Mm-hmm. All righty. Let's see who else we have coming in. Got Jetty Splash coming in. Bo has wheels. Are we calling options? So yeah, that not nearly as much as I'd like, Dylan. Now again, we don't want to have Knicks being the leading rusher, as we alluded to, but some of those options, some of those design runs, I think including or incorporating more of that could definitely help for sure. Because as we saw in college, Bo can run. Bo's a nice athlete. But yeah, Jetty, they're there. They're just, the options just aren't – for my liking. They're not as frequent as I would want to see. But I think there are a few plays I've seen, and obviously in the Seattle game. I think in that Seattle game, that last drive, Bo was using his legs quite a bit when they scored that touchdown. And I think one or two plays in the Steelers game, you saw him move some too. So, but yeah, more is also would always be good. Jetty Splash.
Yeah, we got like obviously we were just talking about keeping it simple, but you got to throw some things in there to keep the defense guessing. And Bo's legs are that's a weapon. He's quick. He's deceptively quick. We saw that in preseason, and then going into the regular season, like you mentioned, it doesn't have to be maybe just get like 2 or 3 plays. Let's get some designed runs in here. Obviously, we don't want to try and get him killed because there's times when you do like a read option or something and he keeps the ball and gets smacked by a defensive end, and we obviously don't want that. But there's times where you have to take your shots at that, and I think that would help out the running game greatly because, like we mentioned, the run game needs to be a big part of this, and just to kind of add on to that, Gary Fire coming in. Thank you so much. He says 82 dropbacks in Bo's first 2 games is an issue. Yes, that is also a play calling issue. Why is your rookie quarterback dropping back 40 times a game? Obviously, you're going to say, because the offense isn't working, so we're going to try and get creative, throw passes out here, and use the passing game. It's like you need to try and stick with the run game. I know it's frustrating, but you got to stick with it. You got to keep trying. And the recipe to success is not having your rookie quarterback throw 40 times a game.
Right. Like you said, throwing 40 times a game and being the leader rusher. That can't happen.
You can't put the whole team on his back. He's a rookie.
That can't happen. That cannot happen. But yeah, thank you, Gary, for coming with the comment. We appreciate it. All righty. Let's see who else we have. DeAndre Witherspoon drops. Yes. Yes, DeAndre. Oh my God. I was going back and watching the all 20. Well, I did see some of the all 22 from the Steelers, but of the Seattle game. And again, I know the Seahawks defense is tough. I get it. But there were so many drops in that Seattle game. It was bad. It was bad. So yeah, DeAndre, that's also contributing to why they can't move the chains. And on these crucial downs, they're just not holding on to the rock. So that's one thing that has to change.
You see that a lot with Josh Reynolds. He'll drop the easiest pass and then he'll come and make a great play. It's insane. And like you mentioned, we when we were watching the game, and me, Luke, and KB, Nix hits Dulcich right in the hands and he drops it, and we kind of look at each other like, really? It's the fourth quarter. We're already losing it, and it's demoralizing. It's like, okay, finally our quarterback makes a play, or just a simple pass, and it's like, and you drop it. It's like the defense is gonna rebel here at some point, man. Like holding them to 13 points and you can't even score one single touchdown. It's mind-boggling.
And it's also bad where the highlight of the Broncos offense was that little trick play. And it waited so long to even go there. I'm like, are you serious? Like,
I know, and it had me scared too, because I mean, I talked about, and we both did, about Bo's arm strength being kind of a problem. I thought it was going to get picked up because he had to get a little bit of a couple steps in and heave it, and it was still short.
Yeah, it was short.
I was like, oh very my gosh.
But yeah, it was very underthrown, because I thought it was going to be intercepted. I was like, ooh, that doesn't look good. Because I was like, he was underthrown. I was like, I thought the DB had it where he was having his hand out. Mm-hmm. And luckily, Reynolds was able to get it. But yeah. Thank you, DeAndre, for that comment. All right, guys, we're at about a little over 44 minutes. So we got a little bit more time. Let's see who else we have in the chat. And then we're going to get into maybe just a few other keys, what you're looking for in the game tomorrow, Dylan. And then we'll give you guys our final score. Got Phil coming back in. Thank you, Phil. It says, throughout history, run games opens up the pass game can open run. When you don't have either, you have the Broncos. Yeah, Phil, that's what it seems like. It's like when you can't get one thing going, of course the other won't go, and that's been the story of the Broncos' life for about the decade now, ever since Super Bowl 50. So you're absolutely right, my man. Thank you for coming in again.
Yeah, it's frustrating, man. It's just I don't know if it's just me, but this offense feels worse than what we've seen in quite a while. And obviously, it's a rookie quarterback, and Sean Payton's system, trying to get all that down because we know it's a lot. But boy, I mean, it feels worse than anything we've seen in a while, and that's really saying something. 3-and-outs consistently, plays just not being made, like we mentioned, the drops. It's so frustrating. I'm so tired of it. I trust me. I love defense. I love good defense. I can't stomach it every game.
Yeah, and I mean, I love good defense as well, but it's how can I put this? It kind of takes away a little bit from the game when your offense isn't doing anything, Dylan. Like it does. Like you're like, okay, you see Zach Allen out there just having himself a day. You see John Myers just constantly around the ball, but we're getting a drop from Cortland Sutton. Greg Dulcich can't hold on to a pass. Javonte Williams doesn't see the lane when he cuts back left. And it's like you see these things, and it's like, well, as good as the defense has been playing, what help are they getting? They're not getting any help. And so that's when you're looking to coaching, play calling it to see what needs to change. But yeah, again, I like to see good defense as well, but that offense has to do something. And again, the defensive players are doing well. As I mentioned, Zach Allen, I love what I'm seeing from Riley Moss. Love it. Surtain is Surtain. Now, he didn't have the best game this past Sunday. Week 1, he was good. Obviously, he's gonna be a good matchup for DK Metcalf. But I'm interested to see what he does holding on to Mike Evans tomorrow. But yeah, the defense has been playing well. But yeah, when you can't get anything on offense going, it's just it's frustrating. It's really frustrating.
And you gotta wonder if part of certain drop offs, like see Zach Allen, he played pretty consistently great through the entire game. Week 2, week 1, he fell off a little towards the second half, but you have to wonder, is a lot of that because the defense is out there for 70% of the game? Yeah. It's really aggravating, and you just can't. It's hard to be consistent and make plays, and like the story's been for years now. If your defense can play much different when you have a lead, they can get after the quarterback a little better. Not that they haven't been, but they can play differently. But we're always playing from behind, and it seems once the other team scores 13 points, you might as well throw your hands up and say this is going to be an L.
Yes, for sure. All right, Dylan. So let's get into just high level, maybe some of your, and I'll let you kind of kick it off as far as maybe 1 or 2 keys to victory and or matchups that you are looking forward to tomorrow. What do you have?
Yeah, so I can bundle, I guess, a matchup here and a key to the game. I guess 2 technically. Slow down Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. That is a tall task, I know. Mike Evans just, 1,000 yards every year. I thought maybe this year he'd have a little bit of a fall off, but looking great as ever. And that leads to the matchups. Obviously, you're going to have PS2 on Mike Evans. That's going to be a tough matchup. That's going to get scrappy. That's going to get aggressive, and hopefully PS2 can come out the other end looking good. I don't think he's going to win every time, but if he can win the majority of the snaps against him, that'd be great. And like Rodney says here, Moss versus Godwin. Riley Moss has been a bright spot on defense. We were having questions this offseason. Is it going to be Levi Wallace, Riley Moss, Mathis, Drain? And once Moss got that spot, he's actually looked pretty good. And he had a little rough go of it on a couple plays against Tyler Lockett. But this last week, he was an absolute beast. And I hope that continues. He's going to have to go up against a very shifty and speedy wide receiver in Chris Godwin. So that's going to be a tough matchup there for sure. And hopefully we can. You're never going to completely stop these two guys, but hopefully they can limit them.
Yeah, definitely. And I think mine kind of ties into, well, one of mine ties into yours, which is actually I just have one of my keys is neutralize Chris Godwin. I'm confident with PS2 on Mike Evans. Again, last week PS2 didn't have his best showing, but I think he'll bounce back. I'm not worried about Patrick Surtain and Mike Evans. You have to be worried about Chris Godwin because just some facts for you guys. The success of the Bucs offense has come through the air with 5 out of the 6 touchdowns being scored by way of a pass. Godwin has 2 of those and leads the team in targets, receptions, and receiving yards through 2 games. So that's something that the Broncos, well, specifically Vance Joseph, has to account for. Now, we mentioned Riley Moss. I think, again, Riley Moss is a bright spot. I love what I'm seeing from him so far, but I do think he's going to require help at times with Chris Godwin. You maybe get a Brandon Jones over there, maybe a PJ Locke to kind of help out. But, you maybe shift some coverage over there as well. But I think one of the keys to kind of neutralizing this passing attack is you have to contain Godwin and as much help as you can get over there to not have him have so many yards and as many yards after the catch. I think will bode well for the Broncos. My other would be, and I think someone mentioned this here in the chat. Roy mentioned it. Yes, will be to pressure Mayfield. Mm-hmm. Get to Mayfield quick, which Roy said. Make Mayfield uncomfortable. Now, I know the Broncos are going to be without Baron Browning, but this is a perfect opportunity for your Jonathan Cooper, your Jonah Ellis, your Nick Bonito to step up, generate pressure, and get those turnovers created. So if the faster they can get to Baker, I think that'll definitely help. Now, I know on the offensive line, I think one of their, I think their right tackle is out. I think he's injured.
Yeah, Luke Godecki, I believe it's
Luke Godecki's out, but you still got Tristan Wirfs there. So again, that's something to kind of be mindful of. But yeah, definitely you got to try to pressure Mayfield, make him uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm. And especially the terrible news of Baron Browning, once again, going on IR. You hate to see it because you need that pass rush, and hopefully you could see a big game from Jonah Ellis or Jonathan Cooper, whoever is going to be rushing on that side of their injured tackle. And just to get into my next key, or not key, but necessarily a matchup. Let's see how Alex Palczewski holds up on that side with Mike McGlinchey getting out, and then you also have Bowles a little banged up on the other side, which is, oh boy, this could get ugly quick. But Palczewski in particular, I mean, he hasn't seen any starting snaps, at least none significant. Hopefully he can look at least fine out there. I'm not expecting him to be an all-pro or anything, but hopefully he can just hold up.
Yes, I'm with you. And, without Vita Vea, well, he's doubtful. I think per last I saw, Vita Vea is doubtful. So again, that could be also another opportunity, for Denver to capitalize on, for sure. All right, so I know we alluded to a few injuries here, guys, but just to kind of give you guys a rundown on the injuries for both teams tomorrow. Two of your Broncos are out. So that's Baron Browning and JL Skinner. And then the Bucs, they either have a lot of people out or doubtful. So we mentioned Luke Godecki out officially. Cameron Johnson, the wide receiver, is doubtful. Kalijah Cansey, defensive lineman, out. Vita Vea, doubtful. Antoine Winfield Jr. out.
That's big.
Boy, that is big. That's huge. William Golston, questionable. And then Josh Hayes, questionable. All righty, Dylan. So it is score prediction time. What do you have as it pertains to the outcome for tomorrow's game?
Well, unless the offense can magically figure out how to score points, I'm going to take the Buccaneers here 24-10. Broncos get a touchdown. I'm not sure who gets it, to be honest. Maybe you finally get Javonte in there, but I'm hoping for a Bo Nix passing touchdown. I think the secondary with Winfield out is a little more vulnerable. But their best guy out there, they got Jamel Dean. Beyond that, don't really care. Zay McCollum, he's fine. I'm not too worried about their secondary. So maybe if we could get Cortland Sutton into the end zone, that would be awesome. But 24-10 is what I'm going to stick with.
Okay. We have almost identical scores. Almost. So guys, yeah, unless this Broncos offense can show me some life, it's going to be hard to pick them in games. It really is. And you would think this could be a winnable game. It is a winnable game given the injuries I just listed. And I do see opportunities for the Broncos, but I just don't think the Broncos are at a point offensively yet, Dylan, to win you games. And I think this offense is going to be a work in progress this entire season. And with saying that, I mentioned, right, that the running game is paramount to the success. And I just don't see that being fixed in week 3. I really don't. So having said that, I have the Tampa Bay Bucs winning this game. My score is Bucs 24, Broncos 13.
Fair enough, man. Yeah, this could be a tough one. You got 2 Super Bowl winning wideouts on the other team, and you hope your defense can hold up because this offense needs to score. And I saw some comments saying, maybe we should bench Bo. I don't understand why you would do that. It's only been 2 weeks. I know it's been rough, but this is what rookie quarterbacks do. If you're going to bench Bo, you might as well bench Caleb Williams because he has a better surrounding cast and he's looked about the same. So it's just overreaction. I don't think a rookie quarterback's even thrown a touchdown yet. Let's take a step back. Let's breathe. And Bo Nix by far has the worst cast of skill position players around him. So let's hold off on that. Let's wait. Let's get at least 8 games in, I'd say, before. I still wouldn't bench him after that, but let's get a good sample size before we completely kill this kid's confidence.
Yeah. And benching Bo, you want to try to outstid him out there? I don't.
It's not going to be a difference.
There's not going to be any difference, guys. Again, the running game still has to get fixed. It's still an issue. Stidham and or Zach Wilson is not going to come in there and change life. They really aren't. Again, they're quarterback. Yeah, is it an issue? Sure. Is it the biggest issue? I don't think it is. And you want Bo to come in there and learn, because how else is he going to learn? He has to. Obviously, he's getting the reps and practices, but also he has to get that real game experience. And so I think this is to be expected. Um, so yeah, I think even with the Stidham led or a Wilson led offense, not much was going to change.
Yeah, I
Let me
mean, yeah,
honest with you, it really wasn't.
yeah. Change for the sake of change is
Yeah,
what's the point?
yeah. So all right, so I'm just perusing. It looks like we're right at the hour mark. So just want to see if I missed anyone. No, I think we've got everyone here, Dylan. Let's see. And we got Kevin Gray coming in. Great show, guys. Then Broncos for live, MHH for live. Good night, all. Thank you, Kevin, for signing us out. We appreciate it. We appreciate it. All right, guys. Well, that concludes our episode for tonight. Again, make sure you like, subscribe, and share all the podcasts on all the platforms. We greatly appreciate it. And if you have not already, make sure you guys follow us on X. I am at Ron White NFL. My partner in crime is at Dylan Von Arcs MHH. And we will see you all next week. But before we get out of here, I want to turn it over to Dylan to give a shout out to our folks who joined us live and contributed tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much to everyone in the chat, but we want to give a special thank you to our super chat superstars. One of those being the boss man, Chad Jensen. Thank you so much, boss, for
Yes.
keeping us in line, letting us have a great time this past weekend. A lot of fun.
Yes.
You just love to hang out with friends, and we get to talk face to face. It's a great time.
And the people who weren't out there this year, please come out next year. We love to see your faces. We love to see you, man.
It's a good time for sure, man. Then we also had Phil McLaughlin come in as always. Thank you so much, Phil. And Jetty Splash, you three, thank you so much. It's a great night and a great conversation with y'all.
Yes, as always, good conversation. All righty, well, take care. Have a great night and enjoy the game tomorrow, everyone. Go Broncos.
Go Broncos.